I was feeling better. I had a rough time of it after the death of my baby Marcus. I managed to find my way back to my routine. I was performing with different bands around the city. One evening I met this guy. I liked him. He looked like a cat, and his voice was really deep. His name was Ted. I wasn't seeing anyone. Ted and I started dating. We took it slow because I was taking a lot of singing engagements. So I was surprised to find out I was pregnant. I only slept with Ted once. I lost a baby. I wanted a baby. I decided to have my baby and raise it alone. I hadn't heard from Ted, so I decided to move on. I was visiting a girlfriend, and she wanted to know who the baby's father was. I told her and made her promise not to tell anyone. She told. Ted contacted me. He came to my apartment and asked, "Is it true?" I said, "Yes." Ted said, "Okay, let's take a ride." We got in his car and he drove. Then he said, "I'm going to take you to see a woman. She's a friend and she can pop you." I was confused. What are you talking about? Ted kept his eyes on the road. Get rid of the baby. We can get rid of the baby. The car came to a red light. I opened my door, climbed out the car, and walked home. After that, every time I looked up, Ted was there. He wouldn't say anything. He would just stare at me like a ghost. One evening, I went to a restaurant with another friend. I looked up and Ted was at the bar. That's when I realized he was following me. Eventually, Ted called me and said, "If you're going to have the baby, I'll help. I'll take you to your doctor's appointments." He made good on his word and took me to the appointments. After some time, we became more friendly. Then the day came when Ted took me to meet his parents. Ted's father was really sweet. I liked him instantly. Ted's mother seemed nice but distant. She said, "Everyone calls me Nana." When Ted left the room, his father pulled close to me and said, "Get as far away from my son as you can. He's nothing but trouble." I'm pregnant. Sadness washed over his face. We moved into this little house. I was on edge all the time. Ted was very violent. He would walk in the door, come right at me, and hit me. He and I fought all the time. I called the police every week. He broke my windows 3 times. He would come in the middle of the night and pound on the windows and on the front door. I was so jumpy, I sent Jason to my mother's. A few days later, I ran into Percy, an old friend from my childhood. He was very nice, soft-spoken man. He was also a good listener, and I poured out my heart. I explained that I kept calling the police, but that wasn't helping. Percy drove me home, left, then came back later with a gun. Percy and I sat at my kitchen table. He took the clip out the gun and cocked it. Then he handed it to me. I said, "I've never held a gun before." Percy took the gun from my hand and said, "It's easy. Cock it, aim, and squeeze." He offered the weapon to me. I took it. I looked at it for a moment. Then I sat it on the table and stared at it. Percy and I sat silent for a moment. I palmed the gun, cocked it, aimed, and squeezed the trigger. I looked at Percy and said, "I'm going to kill Ted."